Okay, hello everyone. This is session 3, and I can be quite brief because all of the points I wanted to make have been made by namely Jill Cousins and the other predecessors already. So I'll try to be brief. I have 3 issues I want to talk about. I want to lose a few words on openness, although you've heard that word quite often this morning already. I want to say a few words on data and on what's on the menu tomorrow in the session. Openness. This is probably the favorite slide of this conference. It has been showed a couple of times. I show it again this afternoon. By the way, we have the creator of this cloud in our session. Anja Jentsch will be there tomorrow. So we're here now, but what does that actually mean? So this is about the importance of being open. The issue of openness has been an issue from the beginning of the Linked Data Initiative. I took this from a slide Tim Berners-Lee came up with in 2007, and he already said openness is a separate question. He didn't want to pronounce himself upon it. So one of the questions we might go into tomorrow is, what is the status of openness? Does linked data actually work without being open? And technically speaking, there is an answer to that, yes. There are linked data scenarios that are not open, such as in pharma industry or biomedical data, but this gets horribly expensive and definitely too expensive for Europeana. There is a second way of doing linked data without being open, and that's linked data behind a proxy. But here again, I would argue this is not the road to follow for Europeana because this remains essentially parasitic. But the most important point about being open is that if you are not, you lose much of the semantic charms of linked open data. So that's why, as Jill has announced already, we go for open linked data. And we have the new data exchange agreement, which is essential in this respect. But it is important to again underlie a few consequences of that. If you go for linked open data, you do not control data usage anymore. You cannot generate income from data access and data use. But, and here again Jill made that very clear, innovative and commercially attractive services can be built on linked open data under one condition, only if we do not repeat the mistakes we are very familiar with from the open access debates of the past 10 years. So we should not fall back into fallacies such as regarding open and free as equivalents or as opposing free to commercial. And I'm happy that we are now not excluding commercial reuse for Europeana metadata. But the real question lurking behind all this is this one. Today, we get funding for doing linked open things. We get funding for contextualizing, for doing semantic things. In a few years, we will be asked, what is the value of all that? And we should better start thinking about that right now before the question is actually asked. So that's one of the aspects of the session. The second aspect is data, and I can be brief here. Currently, Europeana is strictly limited, and here again Jill was quite clear, strictly limited to metadata. Which probably, from a pragmatic point of view, is a good choice, but the really interesting usage scenarios may well require metadata and the digitized or digital objects to be co-present in the same functional context. It is only when you have these two together that you can enable a connection to platforms for research data, that you can generate scholarly heuristics. So we may have to think about how we enable metadata and the actual content to be co-present in one functional context. And this may well happen in Europeana. If it does not happen in Europeana, it will happen elsewhere. With these thoughts, I bring you to what's on the menu tomorrow. The talks we will hear all center around the questions I've been asking now. We have a lead talk by Andrew Stott about public sector information, implementing an open data program within government, top-down, bottom-up, middle-out. We have Antoine Isaac, who will report on the Europeana linked open data pilot. We have Anja Jentsch, and as I said, she's the creator of this beautiful cloud slide that you've seen so often already. Anja Jentsch, who will talk about linked data, evolving the web into a global data space. We have Markus Geipel talking about the improvement of the German digital library, data enrichment with culturegraph.org. We have Guus Schreiber, who has been with us in Europeana from the very beginning and who is one of the important people in the W3C standardization environment, who will talk about open data for the cultural masses, mapping, and the Europeana semantic layer. And the final talk is by Paul Keller, who has been mentioned already as well, who will talk about the Europeana licensing framework, the licensing framework around open data in Europeana. And to conclude the session, we thought that this being a technical conference, we should be a bit technical. And we'll have a hands-on activity. This is a surprise. You will see, we will demonstrate a number of applications we have developed in the Europeana context and which are ready for you to try out. So that's where I hope you will enjoy. Thank you.